Good morning and welcome to BirdDog's first quarter results and business update webinar. From the company today, I'm joined by founder and CEO Dan Moe and CFO Barry Kelman. This morning, we'll be playing a pre-recorded video that Dan and Barry recorded this morning from their Collingwood head office, followed by Q&A. Before I hand it over to Dan to press play, I'll remind you can submit a question through the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. I'll now hand it over to Dan.
Thanks very much, Max. And we'll just start to play our pre-recorded video in our brand new office. Of course, if there's any questions along the way, we'll be live at the end of it as well. And we look forward to, in future, doing full live productions within this studio as well. So with that, I'll get started with our presentation. Thank you. Thanks very much, Max, and welcome everybody to our new headquarters here in Melbourne. Today, I'd like to go through the presentation in a similar format to what we've done before, where Barry will be walking through the snapshot of the business and the performance that we've had over the last quarter. But then in the second part of the presentation, I'll be talking far more about our cloud platform and what we have coming up in terms of new market opportunities and how we're going to join all of our hardware and software together. Before we get started though, I'd like to acknowledge that the last quarter has fallen a little bit short of our expectations. There's a number of reasons for this, both within our control and out of our control. Now, focusing on the areas that are in our control, our European operations are not really seeing the same level of traction as what we've seen over in the US. On the surface of that may look a little bit concerning. But from our point of view, we've had a much larger run-up in terms of the people and the processes in the USA. If you recall back to the start of the year, our major focus was bringing up the US market to be as high performance as possible. And we're really seeing the fruits of those changes now. Europe is a little further behind, but we do have the right people in place now, and I'm pleased to report that by the end of this year, we'll have a full complement of the team members in Europe to make sure that we're driving that revenue moving forward. In terms of other opportunities that we've had some great new product releases over the last quarter, and I'll detail them fairly shortly. And in terms of business overall performance, we have seen positive cash flows overall. And if you take Europe out of the equation, we've actually seen positive growth quarter on quarter. Now, we'll detail a lot more of that through this presentation. So for now, I'm going to hand over to Barry to speak a little bit about the current snapshot of the business, and then I'll get back to products afterwards.
Thanks, Dan. And you would have seen in our 4C release that we have a graph around Europe and of course our key markets in North America. In terms of the quarter, we're really pleased to have announced our 29th hardware SKU, which is BirdDog Play, and those plays are driving our 9-monitor video wall behind you, or in fact in front of you. And in terms of software, we're very pleased to announce our 21st SKU that Dan will talk about a little bit later. We are now 60,000 units strong in terms of hardware, and we did generate $5.5 million of revenue in September quarter. The graphic I do love is our cloud-enabled workflow connected solutions that really connect our cameras, our AV products, our converters, and our software.
Thanks very much, Barry. So looking through our workflow solutions, as Barry mentioned, we have our 4 pillars of products, which is our cameras, our converters, software, and AV products. And we've had great new releases across all of those categories in the last quarter. With PTZ cameras, a great example of this is our new P110 and P120 cameras. They were released and started shipping in the September quarter and immediately became the most popular product by volume in our camera portfolio. It's a great example of how our new technology and our next generation products are still gaining traction. And we really see that as a great revenue driver moving forward. We've got some exciting new releases in the camera department over the next quarter and certainly beyond that as well with our roadmap. With converters, we've also had some exciting releases, including Play. This has been spoken about for quite some time, but we've just started shipping it. And with 4,500 units on back order, we're now starting to fill those. It was a really exciting product and shows the ongoing demand for both NDI and BirdDog solutions. Software is a really exciting part of our releases over the next little while. And in fact, just last week, we released the latest revision of our cloud platform, which has some game-changing technologies, both in the security side of things, but also the usability and actual control of the systems. And lastly, on the AV side of things, we're really seeing a great driver moving forward in terms of being pushed into tenders and government procurement contracts. So we're expecting some really solid business coming through that in the coming months and quarters. Partnerships is a really important part of our business as well. In fact, right from the beginning, we've always been about partnerships. We're very much about open systems that allow people to choose and build out a system that's correct for them rather than being locked into a walled garden. An area of partnerships I'd like to focus on, which is very topical with the cloud release that we've just done, is Google. We worked really closely with Google to produce the underlying architecture that allows us to build our cloud platform. And actually Google's working on an extended use case solution which they'll be publishing really soon. And that's going out through all of the Google channels. And that's talking directly about the BirdDog solution, amplifying our story and getting to more people the solutions that we have. In a few slides' time, I'll detail more about the opportunities we have with cloud and really the differentiators with that. Another part of our strategic business is our people, and of course people really make the business either succeed or fail. And we've been onboarding significant amounts of people, and we're seeing the fruits of that in North America. We're finalising the European operations in terms of people. We have 2 new starters that have just recently joined us, and we're expecting them to come on board very quickly in terms of their capabilities and really make sure that we're delivering the awareness and the solutions to our customers to drive that business moving forward. Our commercial team is laser focused now on results. We have the people in place, we've got the products and the technology ready to go. We're also ramping up our engineering team. We have a roadmap of products that really does allow us to bring forward a lot of revenue. A great example is our cameras that we've just released and our Play. If we can bring forward more of those products, it means that we can enjoy that revenue much sooner. So doubling down on that engineering effort means that we're able to bring that further forward. Another element we're also bringing in is sales agents in North America. This again amplifies our story into regional areas and larger cities around North America, allowing us to see far more people on the road. And finally for this slide, our markets. We've been pushing very hard over the last quarter to bring our Canadian solutions to light. For those that might not recall, the Canadian solution allows us to bring our logistics to North America, which saves on energy, it saves on freight costs, but also gets our products closer to our key markets. The extension of that is a second phase within our Canadian operations, which is to produce our products and our cameras in North America. That gains great access into government markets as well as into education and various other security markets. So that gives you a bit of a snapshot on where the business is and what we've been doing over the last couple of months in terms of growing the business, the people and the technology. Now some of the outputs of that is actually our cloud platform. I mentioned briefly a few slides ago that we've just launched our latest cloud platform. And what I'm going to talk to you now about is what that really means and how that brings all of our solutions together in both hardware and software and allows us to expand into neighbouring markets like our medical opportunity, which I'll detail shortly. So the cloud release strategy is in 4 phases, and right now we're at phase 1. Phase 1 is where we're bringing all of our production teams, whether that's live production, post-production, anyone that's doing creative work, we can bring them into that production anywhere in the world. And our latest release really makes that a whole lot easier from a large corporate environment in terms of network security, but also in terms of approachability as far as how you can use our software. The next phase, phase 2, is really very exciting, and this is a game changer in the fact that we're building our cloud platform directly into all of our hardware. An interesting observation is a lot of cloud solutions require a fair amount of technology in a building to get the video into the cloud. So what we're doing is building all of that technology directly into not only new products, but all of our existing products. And it's a true game changer in terms of having true cloud or Internet of Things connected devices for production and for other live streaming possibilities. Phase 3 is our medical technology solutions, which is based heavily on cloud that we've just released. It also draws on our understanding and technology that we have built into our cameras and hardware products to bring together a solution that's really appropriate for that medical industry. It allows doctors and specialists to be able to be directly involved in either an operation that's happening right now or training the next generation of people. And the final stage is all about signage and information flow. What we're doing is dramatically changing the interaction between live video and pre-recorded or communication content. And again, I'll describe a lot more of that in the next few slides, but it really involves machine learning and making sure the right information is with the right people at the right time, but in an interactive way that blends live as well as pre-recorded content. Let's jump to phase 1, which is our BirdDog cloud release that we just announced last week. This is really exciting in the amount of interest that we've already garnered. Firstly, it's the most successful software launch we've ever done, which really underscores the demand for these types of solutions. Secondly, the amount of interest that we had pre-registered before we launched the product was over 2,000 interested parties. So right now we're actively working with those people to ensure that they understand the platform and can move forward. But really, I think probably one of the biggest milestones we've reached with our cloud release is solving cybersecurity risks. Every other live production environment that goes over the internet requires some form of compromise that IT departments are getting quite nervous about with the current situations. It's quite topical. With our BirdDog Cloud platform, we're able to provide real-time collaboration anywhere in the world without having to have those holes or firewall breaches within an IT organisation. It means for enterprise level customers, we have a great solution that really is second to none. On top of that, we also keep creativity at the forefront. The product is really approachable and easy to use. It allows creatives to get in and understand how they're building out a production without having to be too technical. You don't need to have a technician on site. It dramatically increases the efficiencies of a production by having people in a production rather than having to worry about where they are. Another great example of what we're working on is our partnership with Adobe. With the plugin that we've built and announced within this BirdDog Cloud release, it means post-production workflows, whether that's feature films, episodic television or commercial television, can bring in the right people at the right time, whether that's their clients or whether it's the creative people that are going to bring together the best productions. So Cloud release is a really exciting release that we're expecting to drive significant revenues on that software side of things. Where things get really exciting is how we're going to expand out that cloud platform. And to do that, we're building that directly into all of our hardware. That's every camera, every converter, every AV device we've ever built. That's some 60,000 devices, are all getting a free update in the very near future that makes them directly cloud compatible. And that means you don't need a computer in the building. You don't need to have a technician on site. You simply plug in whatever device you've got, give it internet access, and immediately that's accessible, securely of course, by the organisation that's set that up. And that really is great for anything from whether it's a finance reporter that has a regular cross that needs to go back to a studio. They don't need to have an IT department or a network engineer on site to make those things work. The camera can just be used directly. It gives us a great opportunity to upgrade existing customers. We've already sold to them, but now we can have a recurring revenue model which allows them to be part of that cloud platform. It also has an interesting new sales model where we have the product sale up front, which is a larger average selling price, but then we have trailing revenue that can continue on from there as people continue to use our platform. It also allows people to include other devices if they'd like. So you can have third-party devices or other software can integrate directly into our cloud platform. This opens up some great licensing opportunities in the future as well. Now the medical technology piece is really exciting, and I've alluded to it a few times. And for me, I think probably the best thing about this is it really leverages the technology we already have. The BirdDog Cloud platform is designed to be real-time, high quality, low latency. These are all things that are really important for live production, but equally important in the medical space. And right now, if you look at the way doctors communicate, whether it's for telemedicine or whether it's for other production or other needs, they're using regular communication platforms, whether that's Teams or Zoom, where you can have a camera into the space. In an operating theatre, there's a lot going on. And so having multiple cameras and being able to interact with those cameras, to be able to draw over the top of what they're seeing, these are all the things that our cloud platform allows. So what we're doing is drawing on the technology that we have within our hardware and software and producing a new user interface that allows doctors and specialists to be able to interact in real time directly with someone that's in an operating room. It brings the best of the best to any location, dropping down any barriers in terms of geography. In terms of the spaces that we're looking at, we're focusing on a number of different areas, but not the entire medical space. It's a very large area, of course. So clinical education is an area which is very much needing a solution like this. Having people see, hear, and operate on what's happening and having them involved anywhere in the world is really beneficial to get the best of the best. Then on top of that, we have cardiovascular and neurosurgery are the two areas of focus from an actual clinical section. We can grow that out afterwards, but we've already established that we have the right solutions for these areas and they're very technology focused. To detail a little bit more around phase 4, which is our signage and information. Information's everywhere. Everywhere you walk these days, there's digital signage. It's a pretty established industry. The reality is all of that is either pre-recorded information, it's either data that's come from the internet, but there's no real live content. So what we've built is a globally connected signage and video wall infrastructure that allows you to not only have that regular video wall and signage information, but also real-time video that can interact with that. And by using machine learning, we can make sure we have not only the right video, but also content that's applicable overlaid over that in real time. If you can imagine, for example, a sporting arena where you've got a corporate box and there's different companies, They can be watching live video on screens, but then overlay key information, whether that's advertising data that wanted to see how well their new ad's going at halftime, whatever that might be. We can deliver individualized content to any screen anywhere in the world. And the video wall piece is really exciting because we're really breaking down the barriers of what a video wall is. Currently, they're very highly technical and infrastructure-based products. What we've built is a software-defined video wall that allows you to take any of the content that you want, amplify that up to the largest size that you would like to have it, and control that anywhere in the world. So that's the phases that we have in terms of the cloud rollout and integrating that within all of our products, both hardware and software. And I'd like to go back actually to the medical technology piece because there really is a great opportunity here in terms of the market that we're going after and leveraging the technology that we already have. Our solution truly is unique, and the way we're going to market allows us to really cut through where there might be some other products already there. Firstly, our high quality heritage around low latency, high quality video, broadcast quality is really important. And all of the technology we've built in for interactiveness within BirdDog Cloud, for things like our post-production workflows where people can look at different screens, doctors and specialists can benefit from that as well. They're able to look at any piece of medical technology and look at the output of that and then make judgment decisions based on that. They can even look over the shoulder of a surgeon to see what's happening. This is things they can't do at the moment with using Teams or Zoom and things like that. A great example of how this could be used is with clinicians, backing up during operations. So if someone's doing some work and maybe it's a really highly technical operation, having a secondary clinician looking over the shoulder, making sure that what's happening is going according to plan, or providing advice or feedback as things are happening. Medical device companies is a really great market. There's a lot of new technology coming out in the medical device arena, and training people is a real challenge, especially with traveling around and keeping people up to date all of the time. So having that remote training piece where we can have a operation theatre showing new technology being broadcast out to hundreds, thousands of doctors in an interactive way, they can see exactly what's happening and feel like they're really part of that operating theatre rather than just having one little window into it. And finally, telehealth is a great example of how technology can solve problems, and we're amplifying that. Some of us may have used telehealth with Skype or Zoom where you can talk to a doctor, but on really highly technical cases, what we're able to do is have that doctor at the other end see all of the equipment in the room and make a true judgment call with 360-degree information. That's something that's never been done before. So flipping to this final slide, you'll see the picture in the middle depicts a fairly typical high-tech operating theatre. There's a lot of things going on there, very highly technical focused, lots of machines with outputs, displays. All of this information gives doctors a feedback of what's going on with their patient while they're working in real time. Zoom and Teams is just not enough to be able to project this. You can't just have one little window into there. Doctors want to see over the shoulder of the surgeon. They want to have a look and zoom in directly on one of those machines and understand what's happening. And that's what BirdDog Cloud offers, and no one else does. They're able to move cameras around and zoom in on certain things they want to look at. They're able to draw over the top of outputs of machines. And altogether, they're able to provide advice to surgeons, or at least have an overall feel for what's happening in that theatre. The final piece is being able to record what's happening as well. And this is an opt-in, and it's always recorded on site, so there's no issue in terms of patient security, but it allows people to go back and have a look, either for training or also for referring to what's happened in the surgery as well. All of this is based around our existing technology, so our cloud platforms and our hardware. And as we've talked about many times before, BirdDog is all about end-to-end solutions. And this medical technology opportunity really represents exactly that, where we're able to offer our cameras, our converters, our software, and distribution, all within a platform that's easily accessible and for the right market. This represents the first of many opportunities where we can pivot our existing technology and make it very specifically attractive to markets, and we're really excited about what that means in the future. So at this point, I'd like to roll a quick video about what we've been doing with BirdDog Cloud, and we'll move to our boardroom where we'll take questions and answers. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we'll cut back to us here. I think our spies have said that the picture quality wasn't particularly great on this platform. A couple of things that we've done within this presentation is, firstly, the entire building here is wired with our NDI products and cameras and converters. So the picture quality is crystal clear here. We're working on the platform in terms of distribution. So next time you'll probably find there's a different platform we'll be using to make sure that we can deliver that to you in a way that looks a whole lot better. In the meantime, of course, on the ASX platform, the presentation is available and the recording will also be available. So at this point, I'd like to offer up any questions, and Sam, I think you're moderating. Of course, we can bring up any of the slides as well if anyone wanted to have a look in more detail, and we can talk to any of the points that are raised.
Cool, thanks Dan. Just a reminder, you can ask a question via the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. Our first question here from Dean Ferg is, when are you expecting to see revenues from BirdDog Cloud, and what is the expected initial conversion from the 2,000 registered?
Yeah, absolutely. So revenues have already started coming in. So Cloud is available now and it's commercialised. It's not an announcement, it's a shipping product. So we have immediately had take up on that. In terms of the conversion rate, as it was mentioned in the presentation, we had 2,000 interested parties. That's gathered from trade shows and various other communications we've had in the lead up to that. At this point, it's a little too early to understand exactly what that conversion rate would be, but we'd certainly be hoping to get somewhere between the 10 to 15% in the next month or two, and then beyond that to look at extending that beyond that initial uptake as we get more information about the practicality and the use cases of the platform and making sure people understand all that's available with that.
Thank you. Next question is, what was the year-on-year growth revenue for Q1, and can you talk about how this growth looks across FY23?
Year on year, so annualised, Max?
What was the year-on-year growth of revenue for Q1, and can you talk about how this growth looks across FY23? So
Sure.
I think
Maybe I'll tackle the PCP, followed by Dan looking at the forward look in terms of our revenue. So PCP from the September quarter, most people will remember that the September quarter last year was our largest ever. There was a few contributing factors there. The primary one was the pull forward that we talked about extensively in the listing process, whereby that December quarter, which has traditionally been our highest revenue quarter every year of revenue production. So that was pulled forward in the December 2021 quarter, so that the September 2021 quarter effectively had a quarter and a half of revenues, and so that was our largest revenue period. So in terms of September 2022 quarter, it was 5.5, so it was down substantially in the mid-40s% in terms of PCP down, but we've got a bright future underwritten by our product and our SKUs that are coming on stream, both hardware and software, that Dan might talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Barry mentioned, the Q1, I should say, for last year was really quite large in the fact that there was pull forward in supply chain and logistics concerns. Typically, our second quarter, the December quarter, is typically our largest one and has been since the inception of the company, and we're expecting that to return to overall growth in terms of the actual business. The inputs that we're seeing and what we're expecting to see out of North America and the rest of the world is looking very good. And as I mentioned in the presentation, having those staff come on stream and available and producing in the European side of things is hopefully going to return that region to growth as well. So we're certainly looking very much forward to a solid 2023 in terms of a financial year, and this quarter is looking like it will be one that's certainly in a better state from a PCP and growth perspective.
Thanks, guys. Can you please elaborate on your hiring plans for FY23?
Sorry, could you repeat that again, Sam?
Didn't catch that.
Can you please elaborate on your hiring plans for this year?
Absolutely. So the hiring plans, in this case, from the commercial side of the business, we actually have a complete team. The last few are coming on stream right now in the European region, but overall we've got a full team as far as we're concerned with the go-to-market side of things. Where we're investing considerably still is in the engineering side of things. As a company, we've got a huge roadmap ahead of us, and as we've proven with some of the recent products we've released, there's demand for those products as they come out. So the hiring in this case in the next 12 months is going to be around the engineering side of things and making sure that we're bringing that roadmap ahead as quickly as possible and bringing products out as fast as possible. We're certainly not seeing expansion in the same level as we have over the last 12 months. As per our use of funds with the prospectus and listing, it was very much about bringing up the business to scale. We now have that scale in terms of the overall business, and now it's about investing in specific areas, and that is around product and delivering those products.
Thank you. What are your current net assets as at September 30?
Net assets, Max?
Yes.
Sure. So outside of inventory, and that was very similar to the June 30 year in that there was 19 in inventory, very evenly split between finished product in our warehouses and inventory deposits. And then we have some debtors, and the analysts amongst the audience will note that there was revenue of 8 and 8.3 in cash receipts. So the debtors have come back marginally between 30 June and 30 September. And then outside of that, our assets remain our people, our engineers primarily, and bringing forward the revenue and driving that acceleration of the revenue.
Thank you. There's no more questions, so I might just hand it over to you guys for closing remarks.
Thanks very much, Max. So as far as the business is concerned, as I said at the outset, this quarter has been less than expectations. There's a couple of contributing factors to that. Certainly the ones within our control we're very much laser focused on addressing, and that is around the people in the European region and really making sure we have the most in terms of getting to market and making sure that market share is growing. We're seeing the right turnaround and the right growth over in North America and the rest of the world. In terms of products, we're really excited about the new products we've already released, but also some upcoming products in this quarter and very much throughout next calendar year as well. So as far as a business, we're still very excited about where it's heading. It is a slightly challenging time as we've come through the listing process and into where we are now, but the products that are coming out, the people that we have, and the markets that we're servicing and growing into give us some great opportunities and great confidence in where we're heading. So over the next few months and into the next year, we expect to be giving you plenty of good news in terms of products and performance. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much as being a shareholder and your continued support. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. That concludes the session.